You're watching Color 10 News at 10 in high definition.
Firefighters search for a person believed to be inside a home that burned tonight. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Kilman.
Good to have you along once again. I'm David Alder. We're following this breaking news right now at 10 tonight. It's happening just south of Lebanon on Diamond Road in Laclede County. We're going to show you a live picture right now of the scene. The chief of the Lebanon Rural Fire District says a woman did escape the house there, but firefighters think someone else may still be inside. Again, this is a live picture via Skype right now that we're showing you of this house fire south of Lebanon. We have a crew on the scene. We'll have more information for you whenever we receive it. In the meantime, the number of businesses downtown that could serve alcohol may be increasing in downtown Springfield.
City Council tonight heard public opinion on a proposal to relax the distance restriction for liquor licenses. Laura Kennedy was in the meeting tonight, joins us now live from City Hall with much more. Laura.
Thanks, guys. That meeting wrapped up just about 15 minutes ago. There were 5 people who spoke about this bill, most of them in favor of it, but a lot of the discussion was actually between the council members themselves. What this bill would do would eliminate a decades-old rule requiring 200 feet between businesses that serve alcohol that have liquor licenses. It's similar to a pilot program passed on Commercial Street 5 years ago. The concern is that allowing more licenses, more liquor licenses in the downtown district would contribute to binge drinking and drunk driving. But supporters say the change is just keeping up with the times and would add to the economic strength of the downtown district.
We're seeing a lot of non-traditional businesses want to add an element of liquor and to supplement what they serve. We're seeing salons, studios, and gallery spaces.
And that will be voted on in 2 weeks. There was a motion by Councilwoman Reshevsky to make another amended bill that would say that it would be businesses that serve 20% of their sales that would be less than, their sales would be less than 20% alcohol, but that was not moved forward. And there was another bill that they talked about tonight that will be voted on in 2 weeks. That is regarding a church property at 934 East Weber Street. The church has moved locations to a larger facility, and it would like to sell that land to a developer to build micro-efficiency apartments on the property. Neighbors, though, are unhappy about the addition of more residents, and they're also concerned about limited parking, crime, and the environmental impact on Jordan Creek. So both of those will be expected to be voted on in 2 weeks at the next City Council meeting. Reporting live in Springfield, Laura Kennedy, Color 10 News.
Laura, thank you. Jamie Warner has your Ozarks first forecast. Now, Jamie, it's getting colder.
Yeah, it's starting to get colder. We talked about that stair-step pattern back down. 68 back on Saturday, yesterday 48, today 48 also for high. But this week and a half of warmth that we've seen here in the Ozarks, it's over with, really with this past weekend. We're going to find a much colder pattern, I think, ensuing for the rest of this week, certainly, and into this upcoming weekend and beyond. Here's a look at highs today. Wasn't too far off of what is average. 48 today in Springfield. The average high is 51. Areas to the north, though, were colder. 39, in fact, for high today in Rolla, where it's currently 31 degrees. 34 in Lake Ozark, Camdenton, 36 in Fort Leonard Wood. Areas further south and southwest, well, we've got a lot of low cloudiness out there, and that's holding temperatures artificially high. It's 41 right now in Springfield, and here's that area of low cloudiness. It will gradually move out of the area, I think, after midnight tonight. So we'll start tomorrow off, I think, with partly cloudy skies. But as the day progresses, I think those clouds will tend to thicken up. Highs tomorrow in the low to mid 40s, and maybe a little bit of snow to follow tomorrow night, with additional snow chances later this week and this weekend.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Springfield's mayor addressed the community this afternoon, offering support in the wake of Haley Owens' abduction and her death. Last Tuesday, police say a man grabbed the 10-year-old girl off the street, then killed her at his home. There's been an outpouring of emotion since then. Mayor Bob Stevens spoke of ways to remember Haley.
If we truly want to honor the memory of Haley Owens, we can do that by helping the young people in our city. As a community, we need to make a commitment to feed them, to teach them, and to protect them. If we make this long-lasting commitment today and moving into the future, then Haley's legacy will be one of beauty and love.
Over the weekend, 10,000 people took part in a candlelight vigil in downtown Springfield. Thousands more rode motorcycles in her honor. There were many other events to help Haley's family as well. Well, Haley Owens will be laid to rest later this week. The visitation is scheduled for tomorrow night from 4 to 8 at Ridgecrest Baptist Church in Springfield. A funeral service will be Wednesday at 2 p.m. also at Ridgecrest.
And the man charged with killing Haley is Craig Wood. He is locked up right now in the Greene County Jail. Color 10's Matt Lipoli spoke to deputies today about housing inmates accused in these high-profile crimes compared to what they deal with in the jail's general population.
We have to implement certain procedures that we wouldn't otherwise do.
Jailing the man accused of killing 10-year-old Haley Owens
We have him on what we call a 3-officer watch.
is an around-the-clock job for Greene County corrections officers.
There are a lot of other things that you have to take into consideration. First and foremost, his safety and protection, and the staff's safety and protection.
Craig Wood, charged with first-degree murder, armed criminal action, and child kidnapping, is being kept away from Greene County Jail's general population.
Everyone in the facility knows everything. They are allowed to watch some of the news channels.
Major Kevin Spalding oversees the correction division. He says Wood gets routine mental and physical checks.
We just need to be sure that he's mentally stable and medically stable.
The extra workload is protocol, but it comes at a time when the jail's budget and staff are already stretched thin. We've spoken before to Sheriff Jim Arnott about the challenges the overcrowded jail faces. He said this in November.
Our jail is considerably small for our population.
I would hate to get into a position where we ended up with, several of these types of situations all going on at the same time. But currently we're making it. Men and women who work in the facility every day do a terrific job of trying to treat everyone exactly the same. That's the best way to handle it.
Wood is due back in court now March 19th. The judge at that point will decide whether he will keep his public defender. Prosecutors say Wood has $1 million trust and they believe he can afford his own lawyer. We encourage you to visit the Haley Owens special coverage section of our website. You'll find that at ozarksfirst.com. You can look at the many photos that folks have shared there as they pay tribute to this girl who touched so many hearts.
Meanwhile, military cuts could make the U.S. Army its smallest since before World War II. Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel wants to shrink the Army from 522,000 soldiers to 450,000. He also wants to save money by eliminating the A-10 aircraft, U-2 spy planes, and cut some military benefits. It would save $75 billion over the next 2 years. Missouri Senator Roy Blunt released a statement today and saying, quote, Missouri serves a vital role in defense of our country. Our state is the home to hundreds of thousands of active duty servicemen and women, civilian defense employees, military families, and private sector contractors. I have concerns about Secretary Hagel's announcement today and its potential to harm America's military readiness. Well, last week, Fort Leonard Wood announced it will lose approximately 1,000 military positions. Color 10 News contacted Fort today to find out if those cuts were part of Secretary Hagel's announcement or if they were separate. A Fort spokesperson said we must talk to the Department of Defense, and the Department of Defense commander said she suspects the cuts are separate because Secretary Hagel's announcement was a preview of the fiscal year 2015 budget. Well, dollars for docs. Tonight, Color 10 News looks at the relationship between physicians and pharmaceutical companies.
And whether payments influence a doctor's treatment options.
That's a line that does get blurred and that a lot of our organizations are grappling with to make a correct definition.
Tonight here at 10, a Springfield doctor explains how he uses that money, plus how to find out if your doctor is being paid by the pharmaceutical industry. And if you haven't already become our friend on Facebook, it's easy to do. You can follow our news there online. Just find the Facebook icon at ozarksfirst.com. In tonight's medical coverage here at 10, a look at the relationship between doctors and pharmaceutical companies. It goes back many decades.
And as Linda Ong discovered, those connections have generated ethical and business concerns, and in the recent years have become the subject of intense scrutiny.
Well, it was last August when federal legislation was enforced to require pharmaceutical companies to report payments to doctors. The Physician Payment Sunshine Act is one of the most recent efforts at regulating the relationship between pharma and physicians. But the mandate has been a long time coming after much criticism from politicians and activists. The pharmaceutical industry is a multi-billion-dollar business tasked with developing, producing, and marketing drugs to improve patient health. But pharma's financial ties to physicians have been undergoing scrutiny.
Well, certainly over the span of my career, the pharmaceutical industry has always had a relationship with physicians.
Dr. Stephen Dodge practiced medicine for 30 years. He says close ties between doctors and drug companies, including gifting and certain perks, have made the relationship difficult to define.
That's a line that does get blurred, and that a lot of our organizations are grappling with to make a correct definition.
Recent data shows 94% of physicians report some type of relationship with the pharmaceutical industry. How about your doctor? A public database by ProPublica called Dollars for Docs allows you to search your physician by name, state, or clinic.
My relationship began way back in the late 1980s.
According to the database, headache specialist Dr. Roger Cady has received more than $587,000 from various drug companies, most of which he says goes to study-related tasks for research.
I think what they look for are good studies. I don't think they're going to go out of their way to find a study that necessarily says something negative about their product.
He says the money also comes from advisory work, consulting, speaking engagements, and promotional talks. But do business ties interfere with decision-making?
I don't feel compelled to prescribe one over another. It's really based on the best interest and needs of the patient.
In January 2009, a new voluntary pharmaceutical industry guideline on marketing to physicians was put into effect, meaning no more free goodies like stress balls, cups, and free pens. After at least 5 years of making payments to physicians, drug maker GlaxoSmithKline recently announced it will no longer pay doctors to promote its drugs. Payments will now go directly to research for clinical trials.
What we would like to do is to give physicians and patients confidence that the information they receive is in the patient's best interest and is objective.
As we look towards the future, awareness is key for the next generation of medical professionals. The No Free Lunch program and ethics classes help students like Joe Walsh decipher right from wrong.
It's basically along the lines of, you're not supposed to accept this, don't let anything of nominal value influence your decision making.
All of them think that that will not influence their practice methods or their prescription choices. But I try to point out that it's often very subtle, and it's very difficult to be absolutely sure that those sort of gifts that are being provided don't have some kind of an influence.
I think having a patient-centered approach, if you're willing and able to do such a thing, then I think it'll benefit everybody in the long run.
We heard many different perspectives on the relationship between physicians and drug companies while working on this story. But the consensus is the financial ties between the two is now subject to the highest level of regulation in history. For more information on Dollars for Docs, you can go to ozarksfirst.com.
Good information tonight, Linda. Thanks. Want to check back in with Jamie right now as we watch the changing weather conditions.
That's right. We sort of saw that today. It went from yay when it was so sunny outside to gray by the end of the day. It looks like we're going to get rid of some of that low-level cloudiness overnight tonight, but clouds tomorrow and colder weather on the way for Wednesday. And then down the road, maybe some chances at some wintry weather. Details are coming up.
And now weather with Color 10 News Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner.
Well, outside right now, we've got mostly cloudy skies. Those clouds rolled in late this afternoon, and they're still out there. They're actually doing us a favor, though, and that is helping to artificially keep temperatures higher. 42 is where we stand right now. Areas where skies are a bit more clear to our north and east, it's colder, actually in the 30s to even around freezing in Rolla at this hour. Looking at the nation as a whole, you can see we've got two different tracks of activity. We've got one track right here. You can see the precipitation sort of moving through the flow like that. And then we've got another track down here across the desert southwest and through the deep south. We're going to get into why that is and how that will play out later this week and this weekend and our weather. First, though, let's talk about what's going to happen over the next 24 hours because temperatures are about to get even colder. Looks like for tonight, we've got partly to mostly cloudy skies out there. I do expect clouds to shift out of the area after midnight, and we should see some sun tomorrow morning. It's not going to be bright like it was today, though. We are going to find a lot of high cloudiness spreading in, and I think those clouds will tend to thicken up as the afternoon progresses. We'll get filtered sun, but it will be a dimmer day, and it's going to be a little cooler, too, by a few degrees at least. So that, in combination with the clouds, is going to make it seem chillier out there. And then tomorrow night, we've got a cold front on the way. And not just a cold front, this is an Arctic front. And with it, we're going to find some wind when it arrives, and we're also going to find a chance for some snow flurries when it arrives. And then following it, a dose of Arctic air for Wednesday. So you might have thought, man, it got cold. Well, it's about to get even colder by Wednesday. Overnight tonight, clouds will, I think the low cloudiness will shift out. We'll still have high clouds out there to begin the day on Tuesday. And throughout the day on Tuesday, we will have those high clouds in our skies, giving us that filtered sunshine. And then overnight Tuesday night, we'll see a band of cloudiness shift from north to south across the area. Now, this model is, I think, underplaying the amount of light snow that we may see with that Arctic front. I think there'll be a band of light snow that drops down to the south Tuesday late evening. And it looks like areas from Highway 54 south to about Highway 60 could see some snow flurries. I think that band will likely dry up as it shifts even further south into southernmost Missouri and northern Arkansas. But north of Highway 60, I think we could see some snow flurries. And then on Wednesday, sunny skies, but man, is it going to be cold. We're looking at highs only around 34 degrees Wednesday afternoon. Overnight tonight, mostly cloudy skies right now will give way to partly cloudy to mostly clear conditions, I think, by sunrise. That'll allow temperatures to drop. Looks like upper 20s for lows here in Springfield. Tomorrow highs only around 43. Warmer to the south, colder to the north. Our pattern, I talked about that two-track pattern that's going on across the nation. The northern branch of the jet stream, it's delivering some colder air, and we are going to see a big just ball of very cold temperatures drop south into the lower 48 this week, and it's just going to stay there. And then the southern branch of the jet stream is going to get more active, and we're going to see a couple of different storms, one on Friday and then another one Sunday into Monday, move across the Ozarks, interact with cold air that will likely be in place, and we could see some wintry weather. So Tuesday night flurries after an afternoon high of 43, 34 on Wednesday, 45 on Thursday. Friday, it looks like a pretty good chance for some snowfall, some light snow. That mainly in the morning hours. I think light accumulations look possible. The best chance for accumulations at this time appear to be along and north of Highway 60. Mostly cloudy on Saturday, and then we could see a messy mix on Sunday. And what I mean by that is we could see a scenario where it's not just snow we're looking at, but maybe sleet and freezing rain with a transition to all snow, maybe late Sunday night into Monday. So two storms which could cause some at least hazardous travel later this week and this weekend for us to
And
watch.
that gets us into the 1st of March, so technically we're getting closer to spring because next week we got March 1st.
And I said this
Saturday,
and I said this last night. I said it last week. I don't see us getting into any sustained periods of warmth like we saw last week through the first half of March.
Okay.
So don't look for that.
So fair warning.
Fair warning. All right, Viewers Club number, there it is for folks at home, 140-317. Now the jackpot, it was $1,500, but we had a winner on Friday, and it's now been reset to $100. The winner that we had on Friday, Judith Spears of Pleasant Hope.
All right. Thanks, James.
You bet.
I feel like our athletic programs have all stepped it up over the years.
He's been the sports boss at Evangel for more than 3 decades now.
Dan Lucy's coming up in sports with news of David Stairs' retirement and much more. It's next.
And now, Color 10 Sports with Dan Lucy.
The PGA's Champions Tour is coming to Branson. PGA Commissioner Tim Finchem will be joined by Tom Watson and others tomorrow to announce that the Legends of Golf event will be coming to Branson Creek. Color 10 Sports has learned that the event will be held the first week of June with Bass Pro Shops as its major sponsor. Bass Pro recently purchased both Branson Creek and Murder Rock golf courses. The PGA has consulted with its Web.com event, the Price Cutter Charity Championship, and the two will work hand in hand. The Legends of Golf has been in Savannah, Georgia for the last 35 years, and unlike traditional PGA events, the Legends of Golf is a two-man team competition. In addition to Finchem and Watson, Bass Pro founder Johnny Morris and Missouri Governor Jay Nixon are expected to attend the news conference. Evangel Athletics Director David Stair announced that he will retire after this school year. He's been the Crusaders AD for 32 years, and he's seen 36 conference championships in 10 different sports. The basketball team won the 2002 NAIA National Championship. Stair is also a member of the NAIA Hall of Fame.
I'm really proud of the fact that we graduate most of the people who play here. We've kept the student in student athlete. They're going to have a great experience with a great coach, and they're going to graduate.
The Missouri State Bears will take on Loyola tomorrow on senior night. In our Bear Nation report, Loyola beat Missouri State 89-57 earlier this season. MSU coming off of a 77-66 win over Indiana State on Saturday. With only 2 games left, the Bears are in a 4-way tie for 3rd place in the Valley standings.
It's going to have to be the same recipe for us moving forward. I don't think you can get too caught up into what everyone else is doing. There's no doubt you want to avoid the play-in day if you can, but if that's what happens, you have to go play. So it's one at a time.
Basketball is a game that almost everyone in every walk of life can enjoy. Michael Quinn is one of those athletes, and in only a couple of weeks, Quinn has become an internet sensation following just one shot. Color 10's Megan Rice has the story behind the shot.
Imagine you were asked to shoot a three-pointer at the halftime of a basketball game, with a year's worth of McDonald's on the line and thousands of fans watching. Now imagine that same scenario, but the only difference is you're blind.
Well, on Saturday, February 15th at the College of the Ozarks, that was the case for 54-year-old Michael Quinn. And man, did he deliver.
And I was so happy.
Everyone was watching. And then when he hit the basket, it just erupted. I mean, it was so loud. Everyone was cheering.
A triumphant moment that covers a tragic one. Roughly 5 years ago, Michael had a series of falls causing him to have a head injury and a loss of vision.
It's hard for me to remember some things I did before I got here today.
But Michael persevered. He joined Champion Athletes of the Ozarks, which allows him to participate in sports.
The most amazing thing is his attitude and his outlook on life. It is so positive.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's more than just playing the basketball and other things. What I really like about Champion is they let us know that we can do it.
Michael's an inspiration, I think, to everyone. He's an inspiration to me. Nothing has to ruin or stop or change your life unless you let it.
And sometimes it's not about the competition or even the score. Sometimes the most beautiful thing about a sport is the joy it gives back to the athlete. In Springfield, Megan Rice, Color 10 Sports.
We were watching that, and it's just, he's blind. He cannot see.
He's got nothing but net. It's amazing. And his prize for that shot was a McDonald's for a year, right?
That's
What is
right,
it?
Big
Yeah.
Mac for a year.
That's awesome.
Hey, that's awesome.
Very inspirational.
We'll be back.
Here are tonight's winning lottery numbers.
More on that fire over in Lebanon on our website, ozarksfirst.com, and back here tomorrow on Daybreak. For now, good night.
Have a great night.